Hello, everybody. Welcome to. We're starting a slightly earlier time of the Full Hair Chat Show this evening. So, welcome. I hope you're recovered from tea time and whatnot. This evening, we have got Judith and Angi joining us to talk all things attraction related. So, basically, love, wealth, success, that kind of thing, talking about how we attract those things and what we do and whatnot to get those nice things coming to us. So yeah, there's 6 people viewing at the moment, so we are definitely live on Facebook. If you can give us some likes, some hearts, some comments just to say hello that you can hear me, that would be great. So, Angi, if you wouldn't mind starting, just letting everyone know what you do and sort of your background, really, and then we'll move on to Judith and we'll go from there.
Well, I've got quite a corporate background work-wise, but for the last 4 years I've been running my own business from home. But my real passion is the law of attraction and helping people to get the kind of lifestyle that they want through using the law of attraction. Now, that's something that was familiar to me from, being at my father's knee. He was very much a spiritual man, used to talk about, he didn't call it the law of attraction, but was telling me I could, be, do and have anything I wanted. And I really wanted to capture that and make that something that I actually bring to the world. It's what I feel is what I should really be doing rather than a corporate job.
So what do you actually do in terms of your work now, Angi? What is it that you do in terms of to attract people to these things?
Well, work-wise, I'm in internet marketing, which means that I help people to promote their own businesses. If they've got a small business, I teach them to use the internet, how they can make a success of that and become known. If they've already got a business, I teach them how to take it online. I've written a book about the law of attraction, and what I want to do next is to develop a course to actually teach it to people through video and that kind of thing.
Oh, brilliant. And yourself, Judith? Hello there.
Hi, Serena. Hi, Angi.
Hi.
Okay, so some people may know me through the networking group, but mainly I've been a coach, so helping people with life, career, relationship and business issues since 2009, I think, or something like that. And I also run an introduction agency, so my coaching goes through that, supporting people with dating and social skills and having and maintaining healthy, happy relationships. I've never put a label on anything that I've done, but I am aware that when I've given people homework or suggestions, it's got that law of attraction vibe to it. So it's quite interesting. I have sort of my views, but yeah, it's something I use without kind of calling it that, really. But it's interesting.
So starting on that theme then, if we're looking at sort of health, wealth and love as sort of the main topic, starting with you then, Judith, what attracts love then? What is that from your experience? I know it's probably different for everybody, but is there anything sort of common traits there that kind of, help people find love, or the characteristics they have, or maybe the mindset or attitude they have to helping them attract love?
I believe that it's getting rid of dealing with any baggage from the past, and it's not just the fallout from a divorce. It could be a mindset where your perception of reality has skewed a bit because you've been treated in a certain way. So almost you go into a potential new relationship with a clean slate, with no judgment, no lack of trust or anything like that. And then being open and ready for love. So there's a mile between saying you're open and ready, but you're being judgmental, or you're so busy you've actually got no room in your life. When you take a snapshot of what your life and your work and your family looks like, where is the space for somebody? If you're going to be dating, there's got to be room for that person. And then also your criteria not being so tight and so particular. Yes, I'm ready for my soulmate, but I need to choose him or her from this selection. Must be 6'1", must be this, must be that. And I think if you're open and you're genuinely ready and you've got space, bring it on.
I think it's interesting you say that, because when I was divorced before. I was married quite young and was divorced, and at the time I wasn't looking for a relationship or anything like that when I met my husband now, and it was funny because literally everything that my ex-husband was, my husband now isn't. So it's funny how obviously when I was younger, my ex-husband fit into my, you know, those characteristics, the looks, you know, the personality, the type of career, that kind of thing. When actually, so that's what I thought I wanted, or maybe that's what I did want when I was really, you know, when I was 18. However, like, he must not have grown with me, because then obviously by the time I was then 23 and met Matthew, I then, you know, he was totally the polar opposite, but actually I found out that he was my soulmate, as it were, and the person I should be with. So I suppose you get a lot of people coming to you saying this is what I want, but then end up with someone totally different in terms of personality, career and looks, possibly.
I find it's often the opposite. So I have ladies who come to me who say, I've ended up with so many relationships which didn't honour me. I've been really unhappy. They've all cheated on me. They've all been abusive. I don't know what I'm doing to attract that in. So we then take it back and look at, you know, maybe habits that have formed in the past. And maybe sometimes it even goes back as far as the relationship you had with your parents. A bit of a cliche, but I think sometimes you learn what a relationship is like, or you feel comfortable because it's familiar. So therefore you're looking for that kind of thing again. And sometimes, you know, us ladies, we find bad boys attractive. But, you know, that's fine if you're looking at Jason Statham on a film and you want to pause it when he's come out of the shower or something, that's fine. But if you're going to build a relationship and a future with somebody, you need to be really mindful about who you're choosing and what you want to get into your life.
I suppose, like you say, it's a very much a reflective experience rather than, you know, I know people, for example, who are single at the moment and they're looking on dating apps and, you know, those sort of things. But I suppose it's very much a, you know, looking back at your past experiences and on your relationships and stuff like that, and actually assessing those and evaluating where you are and where you want to be going forward, not just a flick of a phone screen almost.
Definitely. I think when somebody's using an app, it makes me think of like when I do shopping online with Tesco, choosing cat food, what's on offer. Oh, that looks good. I bet Spidey'd like that. That's got salmon and chicken in it. And I think when you're using an app for the purposes of dating, you're going by photos and assuming because you find somebody really attractive that they're an attractive person. But they can be anything they tell you and you kind of believe it. It takes something a bit different to think about what characteristics and what values and beliefs you want somebody to have, so you don't end up being cheated on again or being abused again. You know, sometimes you have to break the mold and see the beauty on the inside.
I think actually the first place that you really have to start is you do have to love yourself first, because until you appreciate and love yourself, you're not really truly open to being loved by anyone else. And they say that how we love ourselves is how we're teaching other people how to treat us. So how we treat ourselves is treating people, or teaching people how to treat us. So if we, are not kind to ourselves, we don't make time for ourselves, and it's loving yourself in that way, then you're not putting out the right energy to attract somebody who's able to love you back, and you're not making that space for them. So it really does start with loving yourself. And we're told when we're kids that that's not really very nice. Somehow, if you say, oh, well, I'm clever, people say, well, who told you that? Other people can say you're clever. You don't get to say you're clever. But in the law of attraction, you do get to honour that. You do get to honour yourself and say, I'm good at that. I've got those skills. I'm kind, or I've got nice eyes, or whatever it is. But you are allowed to love yourself, and it has to start there, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. There is so much on social media at the moment, Angie, about loving yourself and taking time out for yourself, and doing different things like journaling and listening to music and stuff like that to reflect on things. And I suppose, as we then touched on with Judith was saying, that you need to actually pause after maybe a bad relationship or a string of relationships that haven't gone right, whether that be in love or friendships or business or whatnot, maybe a string of bad things that have happened, or a big bad thing, and actually reflect on that rather than keep going into the same old rhythms again and again and again. Maybe pause for that good length of time and actually learn to love yourself and look at things that you enjoy and things that you can maybe do with a partner and that kind of thing, I suppose. So it's I suppose it's difficult, but people, like you say, people don't feel that, I suppose, they're being almost chauvinistic if they're if they're saying they love themselves and this, that and the other, but actually it does start from within us, doesn't it, really?
Yeah. And I think people put themselves down too, don't they? Sometimes they say, oh, I'm such an idiot, or I'm clumsy, or I'll never get a mate. And that can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think you have to really think what you're saying when you're sort of, talking to yourself, if you like, with that inner dialogue where you say, oh, well, I don't think I'll ever attract anyone, or I've always failed at relationships. You have to really say, I am lovable. I'm capable of giving great love, and therefore I must be entitled, if you like, or deserve to be treated the same back. And once you realise that, I think it can be a real transformation. This is from the girl who teaches this stuff, but was single for 10 years. So, I was waiting.
You probably taught it, but actually didn't have time for love yourself. That's the problem. That's like a cleaner having a dirty house. It's that sort of scenario, isn't it? I think from what we've said, it's very much again the mindset. We seem to come back to mindset a lot in these chat shows through different topics we've had. It's come back to our own mindset, and also clinging on to that bad energy or bad experience. If you've had bad relationships, you cling on to those rather than just letting go and moving on. You kind of keep that negative energy going, and then I suppose your mindset kicks in, and your kind of self-hate comes in when you go, I can't have, my business won't succeed, or I won't meet someone I'm going to marry, or whatever that may be. So I presume it's quite transferable across different stages of life. What do you think, Judith? Is it with your life coaching experience as well, I suppose?
It freaks me out when I hear people in any type of session. We could be talking business or relationship or life or career or anything, but what somebody believes and also what they think they deserve, I honestly believe like the universe is listening. Okay, so this person's like ready to take action, and they believe, this is what they want, so we'll give them what they want. We'll make it easier for them. Whereas if somebody believes they're no good and they don't deserve it, and I'm only ever going to get this sort of rubbish luck and my life is just a disaster, I tend to think the universe is saying, oh, right, okay, you want more. You know, let's crash a tree on your car or something. And it just seems to happen like that. And of course, when, you know, relationships, sort of friendships and acquaintances, when you are a bit whiny and negative, people don't really want to be around you because you drain them and you drain yourself. It's just exhausting and toxic.
Well, that negative energy just drags you down, doesn't it? That's the thing with anything. I think, you know, if you have, they always say, you know, it's like buses, that always things come at once. And I think it is because you're focusing on those bad things as well. So you could have 100 great things going on in your life, but because one bad thing's happened and then another bad thing happened, like, you know, if there was bad relationships or, you know, bad business success or, you know, anything, you know, a bad health even, you know, it might be that you're focusing so much on those things that they're becoming the be all of your life, and then that's all you focus on basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it is, I definitely think that's right. But I suppose it's also when we're talking about the health scenario, because I know, Judith, with you've had like health different things and whatnot, and I suppose you're falling apart basically. However, you're still smiling tonight, so you know, I suppose that is the thing, like thinking about people I know who have been really severely poorly, sort of, you know, critical conditions and whatnot. Mindset does come into that as well, doesn't it? It's how, you know, it's what are your experiences on that?
I think I always wanted to be all healthy and bouncy, like a little baby bunny, like leaping out of bed at 6 o'clock and looking glamorous and delicious, and obviously being thin as well as eating chocolate. But kind of, you know, that's not really happened. And at each stage, you know, being diagnosed with ME when I kind of collapsed at work, I remember that was needing a huge shift in mindset for me, because I remember being diagnosed and the doctor saying, I've warned you for like 2.5, 3 years to slow down or you're going to be seriously ill. Now it's arrived. And like, still I hadn't learned, because I was saying, okay, fine, now we know what it is, great, just give me tablets because I need to get back to work, seriously. And he just laughed. But with my back and everything, I think I have this survivor fighter mentality, but also what has helped me is finding a new normal. So I'm no longer able to leap out of bed, well, leap anywhere really, but leap out of bed at 6 a.m, you know, dash in the shower and get ready and go out. But I found a new normal. So the fact that I've got ME, 3 lots of damage in my back, fibromyalgia, and all of that kind of buckets of stuff, I'm still able to do a really good job and look after clients and, you know, be there for people in a buzzy and vibrant and supportive and genuinely caring way. And that's like looking after my clients by looking after myself first. So as you know, if I've got something on in the evening, I have to sleep for a couple of hours in the afternoon to boost my battery. That's just normal. I don't tend to think, oh damn, I've got to go to bed. I think it's just, I was talking to a friend of mine who said, are you ever planning to retire? And I said, no, I'm just so grateful that my brain is working so I can carry on coaching. The fact that my body may not work very well, and as you very kindly and accurately pointed out, it's falling to bits, but as long as my brain is working and my intuition is working, I can still coach, I can still help people find love, and that's huge.
And you very much use humor as a way to, you know, help you along with that, don't you? Because I'm very much
Sometimes,
like
yeah.
that.
Sometimes I say things before other people do.
Yeah.
But you know, life is such a blessing, isn't it? It's so beautiful, and we get caught up in, you know, all the stuff that's gone wrong, and yet there's really simple things. Every time I try to get up and I have to kind of have my spine in a certain position, I'm thinking, I woke up. I can see, I can feel the temperature in the room. My brain works. My cat's still alive. You know, I've got my parents to help. You know, all of these different things that I think I'm grateful for the little stuff.
And I think
sorry.
Andy's in stitches. Thing is, I think all this is transferable to business and that kind of thing as well, because I suppose with a lot of these negative things, people focus on them because they compare, you know, to other people, don't they? Especially with in the media and social media, and you know, everyone always puts on how great their life is and things are amazing and whatnot, or you know, they're earning the big bucks, and kind of, you know, you're sitting there going, I'm inadequate, you know, I'm not doing as well as everybody else around me. And I suppose, Angie, do you see that particularly from the business perspective, like the wealth, and you know, I presume you see that a lot.
Yeah, I think Judith was really nailing it. What she was talking about is that, you know, it's being grateful for things and having this kind of attitude of gratitude, and that's really important to focus on what you've got, because I was talking that the law of attraction, how you treat yourself shows other people how to treat you. But what you're grateful for shows the universe how to treat you. So if you say that you get money, I was like my brother, if he gets a lottery win, you know, you get a little email and it says, you know, good news about your ticket, and you frantically, you know, log on and it says you've won £2.10. When £2.10p, he goes into a deep depression and he says, oh, it's terrible and I've lost. Well, if I win, I'm thank you. I've won the lottery. More like this, please, universe. You're on the right track. Yeah, this is a little win. You know, keep going. I really love it when you do that. So I think it is literally demonstrating to the universe exactly the kind of things that you really want by being genuinely enthusiastic about it. And so with health, you know, like on good days, being really grateful for that. So I'm so grateful this morning to be pain-free and mobile and, you know, flexible, and, you know, as Judith was saying, she's got, you know, sort of a brilliant mind and she can help people. So all those things to be grateful for, and say to the universe, it's more like that. That's what I want. It's more like that.
I've seen a lot of, it's interesting, we've been talking about the universe and the universe listening, because I've seen a lot about like this thing called manifesting. Now, I don't really know what that, I presume, Angie, from what you've said, do you know what that is? Because I have no clue.
Making stuff happen, isn't it, really? And you think we've all manifested whatever we've got, so the lives that we've got. So, you know, Judith's got her successful business, and, you know, and the same for you. So we've all manifested what's going on in our lives, but we're not generally aware of it. But it's our sort of thoughts and our feelings, and most importantly our actions, that, you know, that's manifesting. Really, it's how you go about life. So, you know, like if you go to a job, moan about it all the time, absolutely hate it, you're probably going to manifest jobs that don't pay very much, that you don't really like, that are a bit mundane. But if you can, you know, find enjoyment even in a mundane job, then it's the excitement of that. Oh, I love my work. I like even more interesting work, please. It's that kind of growth. So that's manifesting things. And I think there's a kind of a formula for it. So you have to think it first, consider consistently, because a lot of people will do sort of like 10 minutes in the morning of their sort of devotion and say, well, today I'm going to be really positive, I'm going to think good thoughts, and here are 3 things I'm grateful for: my family, you know, my pets, and my job. And then the rest of the day they moan, you know, they sort of, oh, they're traffic as hell getting to work, you know, and oh, this photocopier, it's not going to work, and you know, the Wi-Fi's down, and you know, this, that and the other. And if they moan for like most of the day, and then they read negative, you know, newspapers, they get the news, and you know, President Trump's done something that we're all really concerned about, and they just dwell on that. You know, for 90-something% of their day, they haven't been positive. They started out with that wonderful intention, but they're not consistent, they're not living it. So you really have to clean your act up, really, with what you think or what you say, because you can't think a few good thoughts in the morning and then undo it all by everything that comes out of your mouth for the rest of the day is negative. So I think we just have to, it's a bit of self-monitoring, really.
Yeah, I think what we've talked about up to this point, I see it as a kind of scale, as it were. So there's kind of neutral in the middle, and then you've got like all your negative feelings and thoughts and whatnot there. And the more you go down that route, the more you just end up going down, 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 and the same sort of upward. Would you kind of agree? That's kind of that. You know, if you're you know, something's gone bad, but you can kind of climb up that scale and go back up, because you know, if you're thinking positively and you're looking at like opportunities within that bad thing, maybe, you know, you can kind of, you know, climb, you know, pull yourself up.
Yeah, it's like your energy level, your personal energy level. You can sort of, it's how we talk about your vibration, or how you broadcast, you know, your bandwidth, if you like, that if you're, you know, excited or grateful or in love, it's literally a higher vibration. Your revs are different, if you like, if you were a car. And if you're feeling sad and depressed, you feel it, don't you? It's a heaviness, and it's slower, and you know, that kind of weight. So there is a scale, and I can't remember the name of the guy who did it, but there was a wonderful guy who's actually put a whole scale in place that talks about the vibration. And the best news was when you were at the higher vibrations of sort of love and above, I think love's about 500, you're vibrating above that, you start to affect other people. Like Judith saying she gets her clients to, you know, begin to feel good and then take pride in themselves, and then, you know, get interested in their own futures of meeting someone. It's her higher energy exciting other people, and the same is really true of you. I've seen some of the things that you do when you kind of, you get outside your comfort zone, don't you, to demonstrate to other people, you know, just look at what we can be. And that lifts other people, and then people do look at you and they think, oh, you know, you go girl, you know, you know, I'd like some of that energy. And it's catchy, it's contagious, you know. If you've got a bit of energy, makes a difference.
I think it's the same with negative energy. And I think, like Serena said, if you're you've got that kind of that line, and below which is the negative stuff, I tend to almost see a picture of it being almost like a swamp, and you get like sucked down, and it's all yucky and brown and disgusting. And if people try to rescue you, you know, unless they're really strong, they get sucked down into it as well. But if you can kind of give yourself a bit of a shower, and it's almost like flying, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, this, when the more positive you are, it's not kind of you're all twee and fluffy and really irritating, you know, because we've all blocked people on Facebook for doing that. I have anyway. But I think, you know, there are some people I know, my other half, my much better half, has no judgment of anybody, and he operates at such a high vibration all the time. It's almost like he's not human. It's really strange. And he has these amazing ways of thinking whereby he calls it getting closer to God. So, you know, he's obviously very religious, but his views and everything and the way he feels seems very clean to me. And he's such a a genuinely wise and kind person, and he lifts me higher because I always aspire to be like him. And then when I find myself saying to him, oh, this person has done this and done that, and he'll say, just let it go. And for whatever reason, you know, he lifts me up. It's wonderful.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. That is right, because like you said about the swamp, though, you kind of, once you do let the, you know, maybe the people go that are kind of pulling you down, and, you know, you've kind of, you know, I'm very much a person that gives people chance after chance after chance, whether it be like in past relationships, you know, and they've cheated and whatnot, and I've just kept on going back and back, or whether it be with friendships, you know, let people, oh, well, they've done that, but they're going through this, so I'll kind of give them the benefit of the doubt, and that just keeps going over and going over. And I think once you finally say, no, I cannot do that anymore, that's just draining all my energy, then suddenly you do, like you said, you feel like you're flying, because almost that, you know, that weight has come off your shoulders. And you know, as much as you're sad that you've lost that person out of your life, when you look, you know, at the bigger picture and actually step back, you can see, well, oh, that time they, you know, they caused me pain, that time they made a member of my family upset, or do you know what I mean? And there's all those, you can then sort of step back and evaluate it and say, no, I'm not gonna go in. And I do think those sort of people do weigh you down, don't they? That's the thing. And they do, and it's best just to surround yourself with people who are gonna vibrate off you and kind of have that positive energy.
Absolutely. Sorry, am I cutting you off, Judith? Go
That's
ahead.
okay. Carry on.
Go on, Angie, sorry.
As I say, well, you find a couple of things. One is, as your vibration gets higher, you find that the people with the lower vibrations, they just vibrate right out of your life. They just kind of disappear because you're not as miserable to be around, so you're no fun, you know, no fun to them because you're not their kind of person anymore. So if you're not there absorbing all their sort of negativity, they'll just, you know, you're not be around you, and sometimes you don't even notice that they've gone. You know, you have a new set of friends. But also they say that you're an aggregate of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with, and they say that, so for the 5 people that you associate with the most, you've probably got a similar income level to them, you've probably got the same kind of happiness level, your social life's probably about as good, you know, your home's probably about similar. So if you really want to move on, it's about finding people who maybe are where you want to be or that you aspire to be like. And Judith, your husband, sounds great. So
he's incredible, like really.
Yeah. But I mean, what a great energy to be around, though, and that literally is lifting you up. And obviously, you are positive yourself, so it's a good match, isn't it? So that's 2 of your 5. So just keep flying, you know. But it does raises your energy by being around good people. I mean, you do feel better, don't you, when you find your tribe, as they call it. But you go in some places and you just think, these are my kind of people, so it just makes a difference to your life. So my dog's having a nightmare in the background. Sorry if you can hear that.
I thought that was Serena having a little whine.
Yeah, sorry.
I think I'm coming up for 53, and I don't know if it's age or being in business. I used to give way too many chances. I had no boundaries, or very little in the way of boundaries. And then I went the opposite way, and it was like, you know, somebody offended me, or just I got sick of how they made me feel, and I just block them, get rid of them. And now I kind of make a conscious decision what to do, but I very happily just remove people from my life. So, you know, it could be clients who, so for example, I had a client quite a few years ago who periodically has come back and wanted to book another appointment, but always messed me around, always cancelled. And in the early days in business, you tend to put up with that.
Yeah.
And then it happened not so long ago, and I thought, actually, no, Yes, theoretically, this course of sessions would put money in the bank, but I'm going to have to block out time for a session for you that somebody else can't access. And when you cancel, it's kind of like empty time, and it's giving you permission almost that, yeah, you can treat me like that. So I think when people do things to you, it says a lot about you, how you react to that. So if you consistently put up with it, and as women, we're so rubbish often at putting boundaries in place and protecting them. Women with families, when they have older children who kind of, bring all their washing home, and the woman will just do everything because it's kind of like an old habit, wanting to keep people happy, not wanting to be perceived as rude. And I've got to the point where there's certain people I don't care if they think I'm rude. People who I value, who value me, I would go to the ends of the earth for them. I would do anything I can to support them. You can also tell about how you feel when you've spent time with somebody. So somebody who's really negative and draining, you'll really notice that you feel exhausted or grumpy. When there's a friend of mine who moved to the other end of the country, and we hadn't been friends for very long when she moved. I wonder if that was something to do with me, actually. And when we have a catch up on the phone, I feel literally like I'm vibrating. I feel buzzy and uplifted. It's amazing. You can tell whether people are good for you, for your business, for friendships, relationships, how they make you feel.
Yeah. And it's the time, isn't it? Because the most precious thing that any of us has got is time, because that's what our life is made up of. So if you're spending a day of your life surrounded by people who are going to let you down, or they bring you down, you are exchanging a day of your life for that, and you can't ever have that back.
No.
So I'm all for helping people I'll try like you get a client, you try to lift them and it doesn't quite work. So you try something else and you think, this is never going to work, because they are so wedded to being, down there. And you say, with all the love in the world, I'm setting you free. Go and find somebody else who might be able to help you more than I can. But it is that kind of reciprocal energy, isn't it? You're exchanging your energy. But so the biggest thing I think we all don't really appreciate is just how valuable our time is. And, when you give it away, by all means, give it away. But, don't give it away too cheaply on things that don't energize you, or worse, that disempower you. You have to really invest it wisely, I think.
Can I make 2 points?
Yeah.
One is that we don't know how much time we've got. It's not infinite, is it? We can't guarantee we're going to live till 96. So many people around, we've all lost people way younger, and it really rocks your world. And then, of course, we go back to normal. So I don't think you need to value that time. And I can't remember what my other point was. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. See, this is what happens. I have found that when I choose to invest my time, I do it unconditionally. Otherwise, if I say, for example, if I've done free coaching sessions and I then feel like I've been taken advantage of, I think, actually, whose issue is that? The person that I really opened myself to allow them to treat me badly? Or is it just my fault for kind of doing that? Yeah. You have to, if you're going to give your time, you do it unconditionally, and then you won't be grumpy.
I think lately I have kind of come to trust my gut a bit more, because I never used to listen to that little voice, that I call it my gut, where it's saying, something's not right here. I'm not happy with that. So like you said, Judith, about the offer of free coaching sessions, at that time where you're saying to that client, oh yeah, you can have that for free, or however you word that, that little voice is going, what are you doing, you idiot? that kind of, you start to feel that, and then maybe you come away from that conversation, you've got that, why did I do that? You're doubting yourself. And then maybe another time comes up and you sort of go, right, here comes the word vomit, I'm going to offer that free coaching session again. And then suddenly you go, I'm not doing that. And I think that is the thing for me. I've learned of all those times where I offered something or I gave something and maybe that specific person treated me badly because of it or took advantage or whatnot. I used to, like I say, with past relationships or friendships, I used to just get walked over again and again and again, and that gut, that little voice would still be there, but I'd just be going, go away, it's fine, give them the benefit of the doubt. But over the last few months, I've literally, as soon as I get that feeling, whether it be, a client has messed me about, or, even at the start of a new client has come to me and then they start demanding things or wanting to change the clauses in contracts or different things like that. I now feel I've learned from that experience that I can say, right, I'll listen to my gut. What does it tell me? Right, bin them off. Yes, like you said, Judith, it's money in the bank. But by letting that go, you're so much happier.
Yeah.
And it then brings, I think it then, we for example, with Glow Virtual Assistants, we had a client for a few years who was just an absolute pain in the backside. If Kerry's watching, she'll be like, yeah, amen, he was a pain in the backside. Nice bloke, but in terms of actually to work with, he was just horrendous. And all the time I was sort of like, we just put up with it, and this went on for a couple of years. And then literally when we decided, right, enough is enough, we're not gonna, there was an incident where he blamed us for something that we couldn't help but what happened, and I said, no, that's it. Well, it's funny how then that one day we kind of said, no, enough is enough, we're not going to be treated like this, almost listening to that gut. And then the next day we had like ridiculous new client inquiries coming in, we brought on things we never dreamed would have come to us, basically. So it was almost like we were holding on to that negativity for 2 years, and we were saying, oh, other things aren't happening for us, like, we want this to come off, and then it didn't. And then, so I think now we almost go, right, go with the gut. If the gut, it's almost like, I suppose, like we've said, the universe saying, okay, listen to that, and we'll then repay you with other stuff, because that kind of has happened. I don't know what all that is, because I've never been very good at interpreting that, but there must be something.
Room, aren't you? You have to get rid of some of the crappy stuff to make room for better stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, like, I suppose the people thing, that always happens, doesn't it? You've had this friend who's just horrendous to you, when you say, look, I can't deal with that anymore, and then suddenly you find a new gang and you kind of, they're lifting you up, and you think, wow, I'm on cloud 9 almost. So, yeah.
I give people relationship audits and friendship audits sometimes, and they hate them, and they're always really shocked by them. And then they come back and say, out of my 72 friends, I value these 3. And then they play the delete game and they love it. They get all excited.
But this as well that what you do is, because your actions always do speak louder than words. And I think when you do something like your, spring cleaning, either your Facebook friends or your clients or whatever it is, then the universe, if you like, is watching you, if you like, and just thinking, well, what are they trying to do? And it's adding their energy. I want to see what they're doing. They're making way for new. They're wanting, different. So it's kind of following your energy pattern and saying, oh, I can see, I thought they liked that kind of, that kind of client, but I see that they don't. So let's find them, exactly what they seem to be, wanting, people who really value them and want to work with them. So it's quite interesting. It's just spring cleaning anything. It just kind of thinks, oh, they're putting a lot of effort into that. They must want a different energy around them. So it's quite important.
Yeah, and I suppose it's always a choice. Like we said, your time is very precious, and it's always a choice. We're choosing now to sit here talking about this on air. That's what we're choosing to do. But we could do another 100 million different things with this hour. And it's like anything, isn't it? Do you almost look at your day and say, okay, let's split that up into time slots, and let's make every single time slot valuable and mean something to me, rather than, is it going to be beneficial me sitting there watching EastEnders, or is it going to be more, mean more to me to sit and read a chapter of a good book? Do you know what I mean? Or have a phone call with a friend I haven't seen for a few months, or it could be anything, couldn't it? But I suppose it's our conscious decision how we spend our time. There are external influences, and anyone out there who's got kids know that, you'd love to choose to lock them in the cupboard sometimes, but that's not the option.
Why is that then?
It's frowned upon apparently. But,
if it was a big cupboard,
by the way, I don't do that. Okay, I just want to set the record straight. I have not Harry Pottered my children. Okay. I live in a bungalow anyway, so there's no understairs cupboard. But that is the thing, we all have a choice. We have a choice on how we spend our time. We have a choice on who we have in our life, what we have in our life, whether we quit our job tomorrow and go around the world. Yes, there are constraints, but we do have a choice in what we bring into our life and have in our lives, don't we?
And that's how you feel about it. I mean, that's my barometer, is I think, does that feel safe, right and good to do that? And I just think, yeah, it does. I think that would be fun. I mean, in doing this evening, it was the attraction of being with like-minded people, and people who think, oh God, she's such a weird, what is she talking about? Wishing and all this, and you just think, well, what is it? So if you talk to people who understand, or at least are interesting at understanding, that made me feel positive. So that was a reason. But it's in any decision for any day is, I think, well, how would that make me feel, and go with that. But obviously occasionally do things that don't make you feel 100% wonderful, like cleaning the oven, but mostly I go by how would it make me feel to spend time doing that.
I want to go back to love, really, because I know a lot of people, just because there's a lot of people around me at the moment who are single, more so than usual, and I suppose they get very bogged down by the negatives if they've been on a lot of bad dates, and they're courting someone and then that goes wrong. So I suppose from the love point of view, it's okay saying, someone can be like, I do love myself, and I've got space for that. But what if they just can't find that? What advice would you give to someone who's sort of sitting there who really wants to find someone, but just...
I would say, how realistic are they being? And, where are they looking, and how are they looking, and what are they putting out there? So if somebody wants love, but like I said earlier, they've got no space, where are they going to fit somebody in? They've got wardrobes that are crammed full of clothes. There is no space for somebody to eventually end up in their home or in their life because their diary is so jam-packed. And maybe they're looking for the wrong kind of person or in the wrong kind of place. They have to, and I think it's finding a balance between being really open to somebody that you feel you deserve and you would want to open your life up to, but also not being so prescriptive that you're blocking out people. So if you've got like a no entry sign, closed for business, which people are picking up on, and also it's the energy you put out there. So if you are a confident, fairly happy, maybe slightly weird person, then the vibe that somebody who may find you attractive picks up on is that you're available, not in a kind of a grubby way, but you know, you are open to love, they're going to find you approachable. But if you have got these layers of yuck, you know, nobody's going to want to come near you, even if they find you attractive. If you seem a bit obnoxious or a bit angry or not open, they're not going to come near you, or they won't come near you with good intentions about having a relationship. So you've got to almost look at what you're putting out there and what you're wanting to attract in and where from, I think.
I suppose that is the same for all relationships, though, whether it be friends, whether it be, you know, if you mentioned networking earlier, but, you know, business networking is a classic, isn't it? You know, you walk into a room and there's, you know, 70 people there that you don't know, but you come across as the chauvinistic idiot, basically, or the know-it-all, or you just stand in the corner and don't talk to anyone, or you're just generally unapproachable and standing there looking like a grumpy bugger, then people aren't gonna, you know, warm to you, are they? So I suppose it's like anything. It's kind of, you know, I say to people a lot who sort of say, oh, networking doesn't work for me in my business, because well for one, it will, because people buy from people, and you know, if you're, you know, especially if you've got a service, you know, and you're the one given that service, that is really important, that you kind of go into a room of people and tell them what you do. But also, you know, if working's not working for them, is it because they go on a day where, you know, they have a late night in the office the previous day and they may be grumpy and they're not wanting to speak to anyone? Well, then what's the point of doing it? Go and do it another day, you know, or kind of, you know, have a open mind to it, and then maybe you'll change your perspective of it. Because I think sometimes, I suppose it's like anything we've talked about, you can have negative thoughts about that thing before you even go and do it, you know, whether it be networking or whether it be like your health. If you've got a cold but you're then going, oh, I've got a cold and I'm really down, you're then already thinking you're going to become iller or ill for longer, or, you know, because you've got that bad mindset from the off, basically.
It really is true, isn't it? Funny how I attracted my partner, because I said to him, I use the law of attraction to get you, you know, because as I said, I'd been single for 10 years, and how I actually got him was I had an absolute rant at the universe, because I've been quite good at manifesting all sorts of other things in my life, but not love, and never had the love of my life. And I just had the real go one day, and I was looking at all my vision board and all my stickers everywhere that I want this and I want that, and I just said, why can't I have him? Why can't I have someone who's this and, you know, this, you know, who's kind, who's loyal, you know, who's capable and emotionally free and could love me back? And the universe kind of went, oh, you mean John? Well, why didn't you say it? Elizabeth. And about 3 weeks later, I'd arranged to have coffee with somebody who used to be my boss 25 years ago. He used to be my boss, and you know, we'd had no connection at all, just nothing at all. But we'd met for coffee, as we'd done every 3 years for quite a few years. Just, you know, what are you doing? What am I doing? Oh, we shouldn't leave it 3 years next time. We did that on January the 10th last year. We've been together ever since. So,
oh, how lovely.
But it is actually the things that you do with the law of attraction. It's where the passion and clarity, when you actually, I really listed off everything that man had to be able to do, and the kind of person he was. And I know Judith was saying, you know, don't be too prescriptive, you know, like must be 61 and a Capricorn or whatever. But I think I was really quite prescriptive. There was a long list of things that, you know, I really wanted in my ideal partner, but the kind of how I kind of left to the universe, and they just kind of, you know, it came very, very quickly after that. We sort of met up again and saw each other in a whole new light. But it was all those things that you kind of read about the law of attraction, study about. It was just passion and clarity and being just really clear on exactly what I wanted. And you should have said.
I suppose I said with Matthew, though, I wasn't looking for him at the time, but I suppose in a way I was, because I was looking for a person completely different to my ex-husband. So, you know, as much as maybe I wasn't looking for it at a time, and I was happy being sort of single, because when I had a boyfriend from when I was 16, and more or less I was with him a few years, he cheated and whatnot, and then I was with my ex-husband, and then so I'd never really had a gap between, so I wanted to be single, but I suppose a part of me was going, well, I don't want anyone with their qualities, so I was saying, you know, in the future I want someone who, you know, is loyal and is not going to cheat, you know, is supportive of decisions that I make and want to sort of make decisions with me, not just kind of do their own thing, you know. And so I suppose in my head, even though I say I wasn't looking for him, it's kind of it's quite funny, our story. Basically, we knew each other for years, but we'd never met. We met each other through family friends, basically, and there's photos of me years and years previous to us meeting where he's in the background of like parties and things like that. So it's surreal to think that now, you know, we have 2 children together and we're married and we have a house and whatnot. So yeah, it's really, and he basically, I wasn't drinking because I was driving, but he was drinking and fell over a wall, and I basically got in touch with him over Facebook and said, are you okay? And he still to this day said that was a classic pickup line. You contacted me because you wanted me. And I was like, no, I actually was genuinely concerned because he was really hurt. So he always he swears that, you know, that was a total, you know, he was basically, I was trying to, you know, get him, but really I was just really thought he was hurt. So but it, you know, maybe he wanted to be with me and that's why that happened. I don't know. It's kind of, yeah, it's weird.
It's obviously the right time, wasn't it?
It's weird how things happen though, isn't it? I suppose with anything, and I'm just conscious of time, so we better wind up in a moment. But I'm just thinking in terms of what we're said, it's funny how, you know, you can look back on experiences and you can see the good and the bad in them, and you can always learn from them, can't you? And, you know, move towards the good stuff, I suppose.
Every time I've got some coaching clients who have had things happen to them, or they have done something, they've been reactive rather than proactive, and things have happened, they've lost money or whatever, and when they're they come and they're a bit like, oh, I can't believe this has happened again, I always say, but what is the lesson? You could go to a seminar, you could read a book, but there is no lesson greater than the one based on an experience that you've had. You will learn that lesson so much more deeply and more permanently, and then you change what you do next time. You have to take action. I think just sitting there and thinking, I want to be a size 8 and a lap dancer on a club on the moon, you know, is not enough to make that happen. You have to take action.
How did you know my lifelong aspiration, Judith?
Oh, sorry, that was a
Can't believe that it was, yes.
Sorry, I've given that away now.
Angie, any closing thoughts from you?
I think you've nailed it really with that. Is you just have to take massive action. You just have to do something different, and just even one step in the direction that you want to go, even if you're really wobbly and you're really scared and you only take a baby step, just take it, just take action and be consistent. So consistent daily action towards what you truly want, and you will get there because you're getting closer to it every day. So that's what I'd advise.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming on this evening. It's been really lovely chat. We could probably go on and on, as we usually can over these, go over and above the hour. But it's lovely to chat to you. Obviously, everyone who's watching, please feel free to continue the conversation in the comments. There has been a few comments. Mostly, I'll just look back, and it's mostly just agreement with what we're saying completely. So that's really good. So the next show will be on the 23rd of April, the usual time of 8 o'clock. And we've got Helen Burgess on. She's just taken over Muddy Stilettos, and she's actually going to be at this year's WOW Festival in Norwich, talking about the topic, a woman's job, who cares? And basically we're going to touch on that then, talking about a woman's job in the house and how it's evolved from back in the day to today, where women are expected to hold down part-time jobs or full-time jobs and childcare and the home staff and all the kids clubs and everything like that. So that's our next show, which is on the 23rd of April, and we will see everyone then. So thank you ever so much again, Judith and Angie, and good night everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.